We understand Derrick is a minor, but as our evidence can contest, this gentleman is guilty of capital murder. He claims to have no affiliation with the gang members, but all evidence says otherwise.
Derrick is a junior in high school. He is a star athlete and maintains decent grades. Derrick has grown up in a rough part of town and is doing his best to stay out of trouble. My client does not have priors.
So if Derrick did not commit the crime, then why was he found at the scene of the crime, with his DNA on the murder weapon?
My client has brothers and friends that he hangs around. His DNA could have simply been on the weapon due to previous access to the gun. Once again, I may add, my client has no priors or motive to commit such crime.
So I have a clear understanding. You are claiming that your client's DNA was on the bloody gun, from being previously exposed to the weapon.
Yes, that is correct.
So, you are stating your client had nothing to do with the murder of the young man.
Yes, my client has never gotten into any form of trouble, in or out of school. My client has no motive or proof of affiliation with these rival groups.
Your client does live with his 4 older brothers, correct?
Yes, my client does live with his older brother. Both his mother and father are currently incarcerated and unable to raise their children.
So, it'd be fair to assume that his brothers could possibly not serve as an appropriate guardian for Derrick.
His brothers have done a fine job watching my client. Derrick attends school every day, without any trouble.
Our records show that 3 of his 4 brothers have records, all drug charges, as well as assault.
I do not know what his brother's records have to do with our case at hand. My client was not involved in those cases.
Your client has grown up in a broken home, with no parental guidance, and committed capital murder.
You are correct that my client has in fact grown up without his parents. Derrick is not responsible for his situation he was raised into. Derrick has only shown himself to be a contributing member to society. My client is not in control of his family, or the environment he was raised in. For the circumstances my client has faced, he is doing an excellent job.
So, what I'm understanding that your client is 100% innocent.
Yes, my client has not committed any crime.
May I ask why your client was at the scene of the crime during the murder, if he did not commit the crime himself?
As you mentioned before, my client has older brothers. He was with his siblings but was unaware of the activities they were going to partake in.
So what I'm gathering is that you are claiming your client's brothers committed the crime.
No, I did not state that. The only reason my client would be around such a scene would be due to being with his siblings.
Judge, I ask you to look at the evidence we were able to withhold. Derrick is clearly at fault and committed capital murder.
Well, as the law states, all are innocent until proven guilty. Ask yourself why. Why would my client do it?
Because your client has been previously exposed to gang activities.
So because my client grew up in a bad neighborhood, he committed capital murder.
All of the evidence points to your client.
So we are profiling.
No, I am stating your client did commit the crime.
My client is only a victim of his own upbringing. He is not responsible for what he cannot control.
Your client was at the scene of the crime, with his DNA on the murder weapon.
Once again, my client was simply hanging out with his brothers.
Judge, I ask you to look over all the given evidence. Derrick did in fact commit capital murder. He is not a victim to his upbringing, rather a danger to society if justice is not served.
My client did not commit any murder.
I ask that Derrick is transferred to be tried as an adult. He is a danger to society.
Judge, I ask you to review Derrick's past, his clean record, and his drive to be successful. My client has yet to get in trouble with the law. He is simply trying to be the best version of himself, within the conditions he was provided.
Your client is guilty. Justice needs to be served.
My client has done nothing wrong, but grow up in an environment designed for failure.
I'm sorry he was handed the life, but he is not immune to serving a punishment for a crime he did commit.
I guess we will have to see then.